Hey guys, Seth from Extrapol here. Today I'll be giving a brief track-by-track review of Interpol's latest release, The Other Side of Make-Believe. I'm going to be giving my honest opinion. Keep in mind that I've only been listening to this for as long as you have, so these ideas might change over time as I process the songs with each subsequent listen. Also, these are just opinions, and it's okay if your opinion is different to mine. In fact, that's the way it should be. With that, let's dive in. The introduction of Daniel the Piano Man is really fun. Unlike Something Changed, which comes later in the album, this one actually has some nice guitar to accompany it as well, which contributes to a fuller sound and which I really missed in Something Changed. The outro of this song is a banger and one of my favorite parts of the album. Fables is one of those songs that really grows on you. I wasn't sure I liked the song initially, but then I just found myself singing it during the day without realizing it. The chorus is a bit of an earworm. One thing I don't like about this song, it's slow, and it doesn't really feel like it arrives anywhere. So there isn't that tension and build-up that makes a lot of Interpol songs great. Into the Night starts the same way that many of the songs on this album do, with Daniel's lone guitar playing staccato notes. I like the overall vibe of this one, and the time signature is very complex if you listen to it. I feel for Sam having to come up with a beat that fit Daniel's guitar part. But he did a great job obviously, because the strange timing isn't really noticeable unless you listen for it. It was at this point in my listening journey that I recalled what Paul said about this being a more lighthearted, positive album. And I wondered whether this was upbeat for Paul, because it was feeling pretty dark to me musically at least. Credit delivers some much needed energy into this album. Also, unlike the last few songs, they create that anticipation that helps make music interesting to listen to and connect with us emotionally. The lyrics to this one are on point, and I love how the instruments drop out in the middle and then we get back into the groove in a big way. Probably my top 3 favorite songs of this album. So I talked a little bit about Something Changed previously, that I missed that classic Interpol guitar sound. This is true, but it is still a very well constructed song. The tempo and beat changes are interesting and technically very advanced. For me, the live version of this was underwhelming. I saw them early on in their tour, so maybe they got a little bit better, but this song didn't seem to land super well the night I saw them. It felt oddly empty and people didn't really know how to react. Renegade Hearts was one of the few songs that I really enjoyed on first listen. Classic left and right intertwining guitar harmonies from Paul and Daniel, really unique sounding dissonant guitar notes that Paul brings into the bridge. Musically, this is one of the more upbeat songs, which is what I expected more of on this album, to be honest. If I had one thing to complain about on this track, it's the mix. For some reason, it's just a little muffled compared to everything else, especially the drums. Similar to Fables, this one grew on me as I listened to it more. I think Paul's vocal melodies are the highlight of the song, and the chord progression in the chorus is honestly beautiful. I haven't mentioned Paul's bass playing yet. I think Paul and Sam have a really good groove going throughout most of this album, and this song is no exception. The thick, distorted bass sound that Paul gets is really pleasing on my ears. He's not a flashy bass player by any means. Most of the time, I honestly don't notice the bass. But he's solid, and I think that's just as important. First, I think this song is just too similar to the last track. The guitar riff, speed, everything is just too much of the same thing. I do like the addition of the female backing vocals. That's something that we've never really got before on an Interpol record. This, unfortunately, is in my bottom 3 for tracks on this album. It's not terrible, but it's slightly forgettable. On the streets of Grand Hotel is another burst of energy that helps this album stay afloat. The I See You and Everything outro is classic Interpol and easy to listen to. I found Daniel's descending guitar riff really intriguing, but the song just falls somewhere in the middle of meh on my ranking. Unfortunately for Grand Hotel, it's upstaged tremendously by Big Shot City. This sounds like a completely different band in a lot of ways. The organ at the beginning stands out, Paul's vocals are amazing, he's really experimenting in the chorus with his rising melody, and I think it pays off. While being different, they still managed to pull together all of the classic pieces that make up a great Interpol song and finish with a loud and exciting outro. I think this might be my favorite song on the whole album. I don't really want to have to end on this song because I don't have much to say about it, but this is the last song on the album. To be honest, it's probably my least favorite, and I'm sure many of you will disagree, but I think I've just been spoiled with album closers like Leif Erikson, The Lighthouse, or even The Undoing. But the last 3 albums, I've disliked the last song on each of them. Twice as Hard, It Probably Matters, and now Go Easy, Palermo, unfortunately. If I had to summarize this album, I would say that it's a little slower and more introspective than their previous work. I think they've matured and evolved, and I'm perfectly okay with that. Is it chock full of hits? Probably not, in my opinion. But I think it delivers on the vibe that it set out to create. And I think over time, it will find its rightful place in my mind as part of their extensive and amazing repertoire. We've got some great instrumental remakes ahead of us. Drop a comment on which one you'd like to see first, and don't forget, all of my Interpol instrumentals are now on streaming platforms as well, so you can get your Extrapol anywhere you get your music. Stay classy, and I'll see you on the next album release.